Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and I am bringing you breaking news from the Dungeons & Dragons world. Epic events that matter for every Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master and every Dungeons & Dragons player. There is a crisis in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. We have a major problem and a major mystery, okay? All right. So Harry Styles is, I think he was in some boy band at some point, and then he had a successful solo career, right? And he has decided, hey, I'm going to stop singing and I'm going to start acting, right? So he went into this movie, Don't Worry, Darling, right? Well, yesterday it blew up that there's a possibility that Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine, right? And at first I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I took a look at the footage and I did my own investigation. And based on the footage, it is my humble opinion that Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine, right? Hollywood star, ex-boy band, icon, Harry Styles, spits on Chris Pine, right? And I was like, wow, this is a Hollywood debacle. This is a minor problem, right? And I was like, that's Wonder Woman's boyfriend. I don't know if you can really spit on him. Doesn't seem appropriate, right? That's a problem for the DC universe, right? And it took me and just because it's been a while, it's been 2 decades, since we had a movie. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, Harry Styles spit, maybe, right? Oh yeah, so let's get there, okay. So I watched the footage. I think he clearly spit on Chris Pine. However, my day job is not as an investigator. So at this point, I can only say, in my humble opinion, Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine, okay? But we need an actual investigator. We need the scientific community to step up. We need the investigation community to step up and say, we have solved this. There's a question. Did Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? Because now we would not need the scientific community and we would not need the investigative community to step up if this was just a Hollywood issue. This is a Dungeons and Dragons issue, and we're going to get there, right? This isn't just Hollywood. This is important. This is important to the most important community on the planet right now, except my other fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. Beyond them, this is the most important community in the world, and that is the D&D community, right? You can do whatever you want between Hollywood people, like one Hollywood star spitting on another Hollywood star. I guess that's a problem, right? But Chris Pine is not just a Hollywood star. He's not like scrub Hollywood like Tom Hanks or somebody that we don't need to care about. This is Chris Pine. This is more than Wonder Woman's boyfriend. This is Elgin the Bard. This is Elgin the Bard from Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, right? We have a major blockbuster coming, and it's going to hit in March 2023. And this is outrageous, right? Okay, maybe in some world, Harry Styles can spit on Chris Pine and it's not the end of the world. But Harry Styles spits on Elgin the Bard. He is dishonoring every single Dungeons & Dragons player who ever rolled up a bard. He is dishonoring every single dungeon master who ever rolled in the Forgotten Realms, right? He is dishonoring every single Dungeons & Dragons player who ever played a human character. This is about Dungeons & Dragons. Hollywood can spit on Hollywood, but Hollywood cannot spit on Dungeons & Dragons. That is outrageous. That is too far, right? So we need the scientific community to step up and give us a hard answer, right? And we need the investigative community to step up and give us a hard, truthful answer. We need to know what happened here. Why? Here's the stakes. There's a lot at stake, okay? First of all, if Harry Styles spit on Elgin the Bard, that's it. Every Dungeon Master, every Dungeons & Dragons player has to boycott every single movie he's ever done and every single movie he will ever do. Period. End of sentence. Okay? Don't worry, darling. Not going to see it if it turns out that he actually did spit on Elgin the Bard. Right? And from Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. This is where the rubber meets the road, man. This cannot be allowed to stand, right? And now, all right, boycotting Harry Styles' film, it seemed like it'd be easy. It's not, right? And it goes deeper into Dungeons & Dragons' future, Okay? Now, we know Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. We've already seen the trailer. It's going to be a mega hit, right? It's probably going to be the first $3 billion film ever, okay? So we know, so there's a lot at stake there, right? So here's the kicker. The correct director for Honor Among Thieves sequel is Christopher Nolan, right? He brought us Heath Ledger, Joker, Batman, the best Batman film, the best DC film ever made, okay? He is the appropriate director for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. The problem is, he's best buds with Harry Styles. He put him in Dunkirk, right? So now, our chosen correct director for the sequel of Honor Among Thieves, we're going to need him, right? But if Harry Styles spit on Elgin the Bard, then we can't take Christopher Nolan in if he retains his goodwill relationship with Harry Styles. So what's at fate here is one, if Harry Styles spit on Elgin the Bard as a dungeon master, you can never go see another Harry Styles film ever, right? And you cannot listen to a Harry Styles song, right? As a Dungeons & Dragons player, you cannot go to a Harry Styles film, and you can never again listen to a Harry Styles song, right? Hollywood spit on Hollywood, well, okay, maybe that's a problem. Hollywood spit on Dungeons & Dragons, cannot stand, right? We would need to bring the wrath of the Dungeons & Dragons community of never seeing a Harry Styles film, never listening to a Harry Styles song ever again, right? And we would need to be committed to this to the point where if Christopher Nolan is going to properly direct, he is the correct choice to direct the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves trailer so that we can have the first $4 billion film in the history of humanity, right? He would need to break his relationship with Harry Styles. He would have to forsake him, right? He would have to turn his back on him. He would have to break his Hollywood relationship with Harry Styles because Dungeons & Dragons is more important, right? And honestly, I think Christopher Nolan, I think Oppenheimer ain't going to do well, right? Which will be perfect because we can get him at a good cheap price to get him to do the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and Hollywood have a rhythm. One for them, one for me, one for them. Oppenheimer is going to be finished. One for them, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves will be the perfect vehicle for Christopher Nolan. But we will have to demand he break his relationship with Harry Styles. The Harry Styles, Chris Pine spit mystery is all about Dungeons & Dragons. Don't forget it and be ready to execute the wrath of the Dungeons & Dragons community. If Harry Styles spit on Elgin the Bard, we can never see another Harry Styles film. I will never be able to see Dunkirk again. And Tom Hardy had a really good role in there, right? Be ready. We got to bring the thunder on this. This is about Dungeons & Dragons. Do not. Hollywood spit on Hollywood, whatever. Hollywood spit on D&D, cannot let it stand. All that's my humble opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.